Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the second conference organized by the Luxembourg Art Week in collaboration with POST Luxembourg. The topic of this morning is digital collectibles. What are digital collectibles and why are we talking about it at the Luxembourg Art Week? We have the pleasure of welcoming 4 guests this morning who will enlighten us on this topic and answer all your questions. We have the pleasure of welcoming Isabelle Faber, who is the Director of Human Resources, Public Relations and CSR at POST Luxembourg. Thank you for accepting the invitation. We have Lars Ghillemyn, who is Avocat à la Cour, registered at the Luxembourg Bar and specialized in sophisticated capital raising. He is also the co-founder of Persei. We have also the pleasure of welcoming Vitus, Pasch and Philipp Klingler, the CEOs and co-founder of Artxchains, an exclusive NFTs marketplace that bring real art into the digital world. I will now hand over the microphone to Isabelle, who will present the project CryptoStamp.
Thank you. Est-ce que je peux parler en français? Oui, you understand? Not? And you? French is okay? Okay. That will be easy because I prepared everything in French, but let's try to do it like that. So thank you for having us today here at Art Week. As a POST seems like unusual, what will POST do here at the Art Week? So October 10th was a very important day in Luxembourg for the Philately because we launched the first NFT stamp. And so we made the link between, let's say, the real world and the virtual world. And that was something great for Philately because sometimes when we talk about Philately, you think about all these stamps and the dust and the grandparents and so on. And no, so now a new area will be opened. So yeah, I only have 2 hands, so it will be a bit tricky, but okay, works. So as you know, Philately has a very long tradition. And even before people had stamps in the later 19th, there were letters, as you can imagine, and there were like marks on it to say that it was paid to send it, and even that people collected it. So even in 8040, 8030, people collected this kind of marks. And then on the other hand, then stamps arrived, and then stamps also were very critical for the value of the stamps itself, because after all World War II, there were a lot of stamps, and so you can imagine the more stamps you have, the less value they have. And then, but then nowadays, less and less people collect stamps. The young people don't collect stamps anymore. And so we had to imagine something for that. And here you can see what, it's in French, but I will explain. So we wanted to touch a new target. So you have the philatelists, the classic ones, the member ones. Then you also have the clients of POST, you, me, when we need to send something, we buy a stamp without being having a collection, you, me, let's say. And then we have a very new target. That's what we call the heavy techs, you know, the people, the coders, the geeks, the fintech people, the gamers. They see something very exciting in these crypto stamps. So why does POST go into crypto stamps? It's also, you know, or maybe you don't know, in Luxembourg, POST is not only parcels and letters, but we are also a bank, and we are also we have telecoms. So we also developed the 5G and the Faber and all that. And for us, going into the NFT, the blockchain, and these techniques pushed out on another level, and shows also the innovation spirit of POST. So it was, let's see, also for the image and for marketing reasons, but not only. And so it was also the possibility, we hope, and we still hope, maybe to create unicorns, because we had other country friends who made it into NFT stamps. And for example, they sold a stamp for €9, let's say, and 10 minutes later it was worth 600 euros. So they make millions of euros or dollars, whatever, with these NFTs. So we are still hoping that this will happen to us. And voila. I will not go into explaining what is NFT, what is the blockchain. I think that if you are here, you already have a slight idea, and I think one of you guys will talk a little bit on it. So I will not spoil about that. That was not my intention. So I talked that there are less and less letters sent, so that's a threat for philately and for stamps, but also the digitalization, because of course NFTs are digitalization. So on the one hand, it's a threat, because the less people send real letters, the less we have stamps, and stamps only exist if they can travel on letters or postcards. On the other hand, the digital stamps, the digitalization will allow us to have stamps digital, and and to attract new collectors. On the other hand, some people ask me, but can we send letters with these NFT stamps? So the stamps are ready, but the postal services aren't. So I think that one day, maybe in the metaverse or on planets like that, we can send letters with NFT stamps, but not yet. And so just to show you how this crypto stamps looks like. So after this presentation, we will offer you some crypto stamps that you can keep and try and experience. So I also will go very quick about this explanation. So the best experience is the one you will make yourself, maybe later or this afternoon or whatever. So you have the analog stamp. So you can put it off, put it on a letter, send it, and on the other side you have a little film you put off. You have a number, and then you can charge the twin, the virtual twin on your iPhone, for example, or smartphone, whatever, and you are absolutely secure. So this is just to show you why you should use NFT, and you will explain, I think, about all the security and the uniqueness and that's on. So I will go very quick about that. If you want to, you already don't really know what this NFT stuff is. Maybe you remind the crypto punks at some years ago, let's say 6-7 years ago. These were very hype and had a lot of fun collecting these crypto punks. So this was just the beginning. And then, yes, and to use these crypto stamps, it's very, very easy. You just check the authenticity by passing your smartphone above the stamp, and there will be a pop-up. He will tell you that it's a real one, and then you can activate the stamp, and then you will have immediately the twin in the blockchain, and you can download it in a wallet. So personally, I like Metaverse as a wallet. Then you can exchange them, buy some others, or sell them also in the blockchain, for example, on OpenSea. I do not make promotion of OpenSea or MetaMask, but these are the one who works for me. But it depends also the level of security you want to have. So it's up to you which one you will use. I will show you some other experiences we made in other countries, just to explain you how it started. So this was in Austria. Austria was the first country editing crypto stamps in 2000. 19. And then they had a lot of evolution, and now you even have augmented reality in this stamp, in this NFT stamps. So we also had the example of the Netherlands, who are also very in advance in this field. And here, what is important to see is all this sold out. So sometimes even after 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 days, they were completely sold out. So for example, in Austria, they had a big party last month or 2 months ago to celebrate the 1 million crypto stamps. So imagine 1 million crypto stamps sold only in Austria. Here you have another example. Switzerland also has a big success with their stamps. They sold about 175,000 NFTs in only 5 hours. So that's just amazing. So we in Luxembourg, to make the first edition, we make a deal together with a partnership with the Netherlands and with Austria. It was very funny when we prepared that, because Artweek told me that this year the guest artist came from the Netherlands and the guest city was Vienna, so Austria. So there is no no doubt we were made to be together today. And it's not because Luxembourg, we didn't have the technology to make our own crypto stamp. It was also because this is also very interesting for the collectors, because then they have to collect 3 stamps to have this whole series. And then, of course, when they asked us what kind of animal we want on the stamps, obviously we asked the lion, because lion is the symbol of Luxembourg. It was also a symbol for the Netherlands. And our Austrian partners were very kind. They found something around the lion, but that's for the storytelling only. So then we also, this is the stamp I will offer you later on. But then you can go further. For example, our Austrian friends, they also make a complementary stamp where you can do morphing. So you have the lion, and then you download something, another picture, and then you have a baby lion. So this is very funny. So of course, a lot of people ask me, okay, but what can you do? What is the use of this? Yeah, it's to collect, you know. It's like the Pokemon cards or whatever. So nowadays it's just pure collection, and of course it allows us POST to attract also new customers, and to attract a very young public. And that's also interesting for our marketing, of course, and for the employer branding and voilà. So I'm coming to the end of my small presentation, but don't be afraid to ask me some questions. And so also what I wanted to say is that some people want also to try to make an experience with NFT and without doing harm to collectors or NFT pieces of art who are very expensive. Some people are afraid of that. So I want to say that by buying a crypto stamp for €9, for example, you can make a huge experience and enter the world of the NFTs. And even if you lose your NFT because the keys, the security keys are so complicated, then it doesn't matter, because it's only, let's say, €9. So so welcome to the world of the Collectors 2.0, and also the interest of the artists to collaborate. And I already have a lot of artists who wants us to make crypto stamps with them. So yeah, I think that, like we say in French, la boucle est bouclée.
Thank you, Isabelle, for the presentation. I'm sure that the public have some questions, but before that, I would like to ask you a question, because I think that big corporation like POST Luxembourg they play a major role into the acceptance of new technologies or new trends by the general public. And I think you demonstrated by this project. Do you have other projects in your bag for the future with POST Luxembourg as this crypto stamp?
Yes, we already work on the second crypto stamp, maybe with the morphing, you know, what I explained to you later on. Yeah, so you will be surprised. I cannot spoil by now.
Okay,
yeah.
So the first edition was a promising first exercise for POST Luxembourg.
Yes, it was very promising. We already sold more than 20,000 of these crypto stamps in less than a month, so we are very happy.
Okay.
And it's a limited edition of 75,000 examples.
Maybe we can have a microphone for the audience to ask questions to Isabelle about the crypto stamp.
Thank you very much. I would like to know if you are thinking of going local in making crypto stamps, like with the Luxembourgish company, with the Luxembourgish artists. For example, the House of Web3 Luxembourg has everything to do it.
Yes, we already have an artist in mind and also a company in mind, because we have also companies within POST who are developing this kind of programs. So, for example, InTech, I don't know if you know them. This is a company owned by POST. So we are ready, and then we also are in discussions with AI, LetzAI, and to do also some AI work with them together, yes. So why the question? Because you have a company developing this kind of... Yeah.
It's even not a company, it's an association, not profit association. That's why,
okay.
Yes.
Okay. Then after the conference, maybe we can exchange cards. Yes.
Thank you.
On what blockchain were they created? Is it Solana or Ethereum?
Sorry, I didn't understand.
On what blockchain are your NFTs created?
On Ethereum.
Okay.
Yes.
Will stay on Ethereum, or you will expand to other blockchains as well?
We will see that with our partners, as I discussed. As I said already, we work together with Austria and the Netherlands, and they are the leaders, so they will decide, yes.
Okay, thank you.
I have a question. Can I also ask a question?
Don't know. Depends.
My question is more related to the stamp in itself. So I was wondering, among the ones that were collected, were most of them collected from people that are in Luxembourg or also abroad? And related to the question of the collaborations you're planning to do, for example, maybe with local artists and everything. So now we saw the lion, and I was wondering, among the ones that you already created, are all lions, or do you also already created new other kinds of images and visuals?
To answer the first question, so yes, most of the stamps were sold in Luxembourg, and then second country were the United States. But I don't know if this is because some people go to platforms and come through the United States. I don't know, but United States, and then also Asian countries. Yes, they are very keen of that. And then for the next stamp, we decided to leave carte blanche to the artist. So this one was the first with the lion, because it's symbol of Luxembourg, and to launch the first stamp with the symbol of Luxembourg was very important for us. And then, yes, as I said, the other was, we usually, when we work with artists, we like to leave them a carte blanche, yes.
Thank you, Isabelle. We will now open up the discussion with Vitus and Philipp. They are the CEOs and co-founder of an exclusive NFT marketplace. Vitus, Philipp, can you present yourself and tell us a little bit more about the project and how did you come up with the idea? And also mentioning that you are coming from Austria, Vienna, and Isabelle also collaborated with your country about the NFT.
Hello, thanks for having us here. Yeah, we're from Austria, we're from Vienna. And the reason why we came up with our project basically was observing the NFT market. We saw a huge lack of actual value. We believe that a lot of projects were like rug pull projects where they just made up a quick hype and then somehow disappeared. And I think that news somehow contributed to the image of NFTs being just a little digital imprint, maybe a little square or some pixels, with no value. That somehow, at least in Vienna, when you say the word NFT nowadays, people turn their eyes. They don't know what you're talking about. They think it's valueless basically, because newspaper have shown these projects have gone wrong, or at least that have done something wrong, let's say. But nevertheless, the technology that is used for that is very, very innovative and very, very secure and has a huge potential. And so we created Artxchains to somehow show that the technology can be used to do something good actually. If you have the right prospect and the right idea behind it and use the technology, it can serve, and it can serve on long term, not short term. So basically, for digital art, for instance, of course, it's an ideal way to secure the origin and the uniqueness and the appropriation of the art or the item or the asset, as you may call it, because it doesn't necessarily need to be art, actually. So in terms of the originality, it is a great way to secure the provenance of a digital asset. But furthermore, how about connecting this new technology with physical assets? So why not connect an NFT? Why don't use the NFT to secure the provenance of a physical piece of art and sell the physical piece of art through the technology in order to have a transparent itinerary of the whole artwork through its whole existence. So on one hand, the artist can profit from royalties. I think this royalty topic hasn't been mentioned. With NFTs, you can link royalties. So basically, the owner of the IP, speaking the artist, can obtain royalties on the secondary market each time his piece of art gets sold, may it be digital or physical in this case. And I think especially in the physical case, it's very interesting because on a private sale, usually the artist doesn't even know that his painting got sold. But if you link it over the blockchain, there is no way around it. It's going to be protocolized, and not only the artist receives royalties, but customers, clients, interested people in art, they can see the evolution of the piece of art. They can see the evolution of the price. They can see when it was sold, where it was sold, where did it go, when did it go somewhere. And I think this is not only important information, but it's about transparency of the market. So this is basically the main topic we are dealing with. And at our stand today, this week, and we are really happy to be here in Luxembourg at the Art Week. We have our first physical NFT, and you are very invited to come see us. And please follow us on our journey and show that NFTs are not only NFTs the way people think they are. NFTs are a really potential and powerful tool for the future, as well for physical art. It doesn't really need to be digital.
Thank you. May I ask a little provocative question about NFTs? I'm sure some people in the audience that are not familiar with NFTs or Web3 and all these topics may ask themselves about it. I think that NFTs have disrupted the traditional revenue model, and you just mentioned it actually, for artists. How do your platform contribute to bringing more freedom and more value to the artist?
Well, I'd say the main aspect of this it's royalties, because imagine being able as an artist to profit from the secondary market as long as it's maintaining and existing. without being having to worry about where does it go, did it go somewhere, did I miss something. It's automatically, it's protocolized, there's no way around. And I think this is a fantastic tool to secure the fairness on the market and especially the transparency.
Yes, and also to support the artists is super important. So I don't know how many people of you actually know what an NFT is. NFT is a non-fungible token, but basically it's just a smart contract. So you can actually write anything in it. For example, when we create an NFT with an artist, we could actually link it with a real-world experience as well. So basically, if you buy the NFT, you not only receive a digital collectible and the physical piece, you could also have a real-world experience, like meeting the artist in person, having lunch with him, or so on. So basically, we're trying to link all these components and create a whole experience. And I think that is actually amazing.
So you're bringing more transparency and more traceability through your technology into the art world, because it's true that sometimes some art pieces are we are unaware of where they come from or how they have been founded, and also sometimes people are using it to do, let's say, money laundering, and through your technology you are protecting, you are avoiding this. So.
Sorry. It's about bridging the gap between the digital and the physical. And I think many people are worried or scared or suspicious, concerned about digital. Everything is digital, it's not really known, it's new. And I believe by linking the digital with the physical, it's a way to actually show people it's a system that works. Because if somebody wants a physical piece of art, and just the receipt is digital, the transaction is digital, it's not that bad. It's easy to understand. You obtain a physical piece of art. But to purely sell the digital, you need the right community to do that. And I think to showing that physical can be sold too, you get the other part of the community, the one that were skeptic, the one that didn't know, the one that want to know. I think this is the way to go.
Ari, you are the CEO and co-founder of Alpha Persei, and you have also a project called Moon Gallery that commercialized the first piece of art that went back and forth to the space, which is quite unique in the world. We are really happy to welcome you today. Also about the structure of your company, I think it's very unique. It's a DAO, decentralized autonomous organization. Can you tell us more about your project and how did you come up with the idea? What inspired you to create this project?
Better? Okay. Maybe before answering the question, Hinde, I wanted to know a little bit more about our public because we are not that much. Who of you is actually an artist or a creator? Yes, you are. Half-half, depends. And who is a collector of art? And all the rest are art enthusiasts, I imagine. Okay, it's good. Look, actually, I'm a lawyer, right? So the space venture was something very atypical. It was in the wake of the cryptocurrencies that were very high in the fall of 2021. I was looking at, all those transactions and thinking, why are spending so much people so much money into the metaverse, which is a complete virtual world, right? Whereas we are going to the universe, a real world that is being developed as we speak. We are slowly becoming an interplanetary species during our lifetimes, by the way, which is, extraordinary. It's like the first fish when they crawled out of the oceans and became amphibia. It's of the same magnitude and we don't realize it. And I was thinking, okay, probably there are 3 evolutions happening at the same time. Maybe still within our lifetimes we will go to Mars, 1. Second, it could be that we will live much, much longer. It's something that we discussed lesser, but longevity and so on is a second pillar. And the third pillar is everything which is digitalization, quantum computing, AI, blockchain, this technology pillar. And if you combine the 3 of them, I was like, okay, but if we are going to space, how will we interact with one another and how we will deal with the very long distances and the very long timelines, to travel from one place to another place? How will you interact with your objects? It can only be if you do it in a digitalized way, yeah? And then there was this Dutch foundation, the Moon Gallery, that said, okay, we found 62 artists that each made a piece of art of 1 square centimeter and assembled it into a bigger cubus, with the idea that the cubus, a perfect form, is the piece of art. Because we, as humanity, humankind, you know, the assemblée, the assemble, you know, transcends the individuality. And they put that piece of art on a rocket that went to the International Space Station, emblematic example of human collaboration. Been there are videos of it floating there and back. And now NanoRax is actually studying the impact of the loss of gravity on all the different elements that the artists have used to make that piece of art, yeah? And that piece of art is being commercialized. There will be a second piece of art that will go to the moon, with the idea to deposit art earlier on the moon than weapons, because as you know, with China and Russia and the United States, you know, space is becoming heavily militarized. So I needed someone much smarter than me to pull this together from a blockchain perspective, because I'm not a blockchain engineer, unlike the two gentlemen on my right. So I used Dr. Google and was like, best blockchain engineer in Luxembourg. I was very lucky because the result hit. Dr. Erik Valk, my co-founder, won the Tech Entrepreneur Prize in Luxembourg, DLT, blah, blah. So I said, does Dr. Erik Valk have LinkedIn? Yes. So I contact him on LinkedIn. I call him and I'm, you know, explaining the story. And Erik is German, right? Sorry, I'm Belgian, but he's like German. He was like listening to me. He said, so you want to go to space and finance it via tokens to compete with Elon Musk? I was like, well, I didn't put it that way, but if you put it that way and you're still in, we will do something together. And then a week later, he called me. He said, yeah, let's do it. And I developed an algorithm, he said, that I have difficulties commercializing, and I kind of have an idea that you will be good in it, you know, doing the talking. So then we ended up creating 2 companies, Alpha Persei and Filedgr, the second one for the circular economy. And with Alpha Persei, we've been in Azerbaijan last month. We've been invited by the International Astronautical Congress to talk in Paris with our blockchain solution. We are displaying the Moon Art Gallery for 5 years at Art Basel Miami as from next year. So yeah, it's actually something that functions very well, because a lot of people, and this is where I join you, and the younger generation, they just have other spending behaviors. Sometimes we ask ourselves, why are people buying those NFTs or spending money on so and so? And it's just that, you know, there's another generation. People value community. People want to be engaged, want to be involved. People also do not find it that important anymore to own exclusivity one piece of art that is worth 10 million, but just want to own a piece of something, right? Just like Airbnb and this whole sharing economy. I'm more traditional as well, I will admit that. I have no problems with that, but I was amazed when we went to Singapore in September, just 2 months ago. We launched a series of NFTs with the better half of Erik Valk, and they were all sold. I was like, we should have created more, you know? So, yeah.
Thank you. I'm sure that we can pass the microphone in the audience so people can ask their questions to Ari, Philipp, Isabelle, and Vitus.
Hello, thank you for your time. I had one question because you were talking about one of the advantages is transparency in terms of NFT. But I was thinking in terms of if I am an investor like with exclusive piece of art value at a very high price, do I want to know, do I want everyone to know I am the owner of that? And it's more into who can access to the list of the transactions and
it's a good question. So basically, you stay anonymous, but you see that there was a transaction. Okay, so you see the development of the price, you see the timing, you see the dates, you see when it was sold, how it was sold, but you don't know exactly who owns the piece. This would take further steps to actually engage this information, and not you're like as an individual, you're not looking into that. Unless you want to out yourself, you own it, obviously.
It would be possible to see the list of transactions, but not the end.
Yes,
the end
you would see the wallets. Right?
Yes, many wallets,
And
many
also,
transactions.
also in terms, is it possible a piece of art divided into pieces and go to retail investors? Like, is it gonna help retail investors to go into the art world?
You mean fractionalizing?
No, for example, we have a drawing and we divide it into 10 pieces and we are able to sell to retail investors.
This is fractionalizing. What you mean? It is possible. A very famous museum, I don't want to say the name right now, in Vienna did that with an even more famous painting. I don't want to say the name now either, which went more than wrong, which was a catastrophe, to be honest, because they actually made 10,000 pieces of one famous piece. And I'm not even talking about the ethical problem, dividing a piece of art. There was one piece into 10,000, actual 10,000 fragments. But it went wrong because you couldn't do nothing with it. And you wouldn't know which piece you get. And in the end, this project was so much of a failure, they didn't sell out. So they had 10,000 NFTs. They sold 2,500. So 7,500 were left. And so how would the secondary market go? Why should you buy more, pay more on the secondary market if you can still get it for the original price? So now actually it turned around because the secondary market is so low that the original price is higher because it decreased in value incredibly. It was it fell down like a stone. So this fractionalizing, yes, if you do it right, if there is an added value to each piece, if there is somehow a concept behind it that is more than just selling. Yes, we do not seek to do that in first instance. If an artist insists on doing that, yes, but actually we try to create unique pieces.
Thank you very much.
Hello, thank you very much. We're coming from Belgium as well, and we have a question about the regulatory environment in Luxembourg. In Belgium, it's not very friendly for NFTs. So if you have a wallet or if you try to buy some crypto from a bank account, your bank account may be closed by your bank. And then they say they try to encourage Web3 innovation. So it's kind of hard, and yeah, we're looking forward to hear how is the situation in Luxembourg.
So yeah, it's painful to see how unfriendly Belgium is for cryptocurrencies. I am the lead restructuring lawyer on Bit4U, the Belgian crypto platform that became insolvent, and it's very hard with the FSMA. So they consider that you need to have a license for everything from the moment you're even slightly present on the Belgian territory, which makes that Belgium has 0 virtual asset service providers, Bit4U being the last one that left, whereas France has more than 60, the Netherlands 40, and Luxembourg now almost 20. So I wouldn't structure a digital asset or virtual asset product, platform, or financial instrument out of Belgium for the moment. I think has something to do with political reasons, and that will not be solved anytime soon. Now, Luxembourg, we are very much at the forefront of the digital asset community, the CSSF, so our FSMA, I would say, as well equipped. They were at the forefront for a certain number of financial products that were innovative. I will say, though, that in the market there was a little bit of criticism that for digital assets they were slower than they were for other evolutions. For instance, green products and so on, because Luxembourg, since a lot of international transactions are structured here, we are also heavily scrutinized. There was LuxLeaks in 2014, so the CSSF came a little bit under scrutiny, maybe from ESMA and international bodies. So they took a little bit a more prudent approach, I would say, for cryptocurrencies in general, because cryptocurrencies been traditionally used as well. Let's say like until 10 years ago for purposes that were not that nice. But for the moment, they have a dedicated digital innovation hub. They follow the European rules. So the regulatory framework is just basically mainly European with Luxembourg implementation thereof. That is, generally speaking, more flexible and more user or market participant friendly, I would say. Maybe you want to add something with your own experience from POST?
That's also one of the reasons why our crypto stamps, you can, on our platform, cryptostamp.lu, you have the QR code, you can buy them in euro as well as in cryptocurrencies, because also sometimes the legislation is not very clear, but also the people are afraid also about that. So that's why you can buy it in shared currencies, let's say.
Thank you very much. I think there is a confusion indeed in Belgium between the technology innovation is based on, for example, if you build a philanthropic project to collect money, for example, to restore an Art Nouveau house like we do in Brussels, and the way you pay, you can pay in fiat, but you can build the project with the blockchain. And there is a huge confusion. So it's good to see that in Luxembourg, at least, and it's not very far, we can have a more friendly environment if needed. Thank you.
Yeah, and both countries work very well together. So Alexander De Croo is a Liberal Prime Minister, Xavier Bettel is as well. They signed the MOU earlier this year to collaborate. And since the FSMA is so severe, there's not a lot of knowledge in Belgium anymore, which made that foreigners now are more than 10 years in Luxembourg, okay? I consider myself like Luxembourg Belgian in the meantime, that to lead the legal group of blockchain for Belgium, of course in Belgium everything is half French speaking, half Dutch speaking. They looked even abroad because I'm leading that work group. They just don't have the knowledge anymore in Belgium because they do not allow it to develop together with Florian and Renaud and Liège. And I think that's very sad to see, you know, from a regulator perspective, you're just killing a whole industry.
Thank you.
I have a question. So, with a premise, I'm not a NFT or tech savvy at all, so my question might be a bit more vague or abstract, but it's just out of a personal interest. And it's maybe more addressed to Harry, Philipp, and Vitus, but of course, Isabelle, if you have any input on that, feel free to add it too. Your space project kind of reminded me of something I had heard already 1 year ago, of the Jeff Koons new moon phases project. So I actually don't know whether that happened or not in the end, but I read at some point that he was planning to create some physical art pieces that show the different moon phases, I think about 100 of them, if I'm not wrong. And he was planning to send this to the moon. And of course, people could then here get the NFT. And I don't know how to phrase this question, but since we've been talking about the link between the digital and the physical, and since I saw that Artxchains is actually trying to establish a physical link here, for me it was a bit confusing to understand, for example, why would one create a physical piece but send it to space? So actually it's not here anymore. I cannot get the physical piece but get the NFT, if not for the allure of being able to say, oh, I bought something that is now on the moon, like when reminds me a bit of when 10 years ago people were maybe buying the contract, not contract, but they were sort of naming a star on the name of somebody and getting a contract. So I don't know, maybe if, I don't know what's my question, but I was just maybe interested in your view on this, perhaps.
To be honest, this moon thing of Jeff Koons is the first time I hear it. And I think he's just a great marketing person. And I really believe it's about the idea of having a digital imprint of something that actually went to space. This is hype building. This is, in my opinion, I don't see the unless you manage individuals to travel to moon and actually pick it up, it's gonna remain a marketing.
Yeah, we decided not to do that, by the way. How do you make a lot of money in space and in crypto? You say that you will send a Shiba to the moon, right? It's technically possible, right? If you can pay the launch cost, and then a lot of people will put a lot of money, but it's not sustainable. So we said we won't do it. We will only send art pieces to the moon that also have a scientific purpose. Reason why, these artists took glass, took snow, took earth, took wood, and Anorex is actually studying the impact of that. Otherwise, you don't go. We have other things to do, but it's exactly, one of the bigger topics that we struggled with as well. By the way, the space industry is really loss-making. Nobody's making any money in space, except, the launches that are big enough and Earth observation. So, you kind of need to find a way for a startup to be profitable, and there's no better way to do that than with entertainment.
No, thank you. But I think maybe, perhaps I'm wrong, but maybe for me, as a common mortal that sees this from very far, perhaps this is also the reason why there's also this huge gap, perhaps, or mistrust among the public, because when people like me who really don't know much about all this hear news on NFTs or things like revolving around these kind of projects, what gets the most advertised, perhaps, is exactly this kind of projects. And when I read it, I'm like, oh, wow, cool. But then I think, yeah, but what's the use of it, and why would one want to do that? So maybe, I guess, I don't know if you agree, but perhaps there is also an information problem, perhaps related to how we talk about NFTs or crypto, and maybe, I don't know if you've seen that as well when you work with the public or in these kind of projects. And then I wonder, how could we address this imbalance in a way, and gap of knowledge with the public? I don't know if it's an answer or something that you can address, but I mean,
there's a lot of education to be done, and there are a lot of projects, they were pumped, and it was just a scam. A lot of people lost a lot of money, other people made a lot of money, but stuff like sending something to the moon, it's about marketing, obviously, and you need to get the attention of the people. What we're trying to do is actually, we're staying down on Earth. We're trying to connect a physical piece with an NFT to help the artist, basically.
Thank you. Maybe to reconcile this topic, people thinking that digital art is not art. I think it's just redefining what art is. And yesterday we had an interesting conversation with Vitus, and he was telling me that the support of art actually doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if it's a piece of music, if it's a painting, if it's... What art is not the piece itself, it's just the emotion that is giving to people. Vitus, can you tell us a little bit more about this? Because I think it was really true, and you really convinced me at that moment that digital art was art, in fact.
Well, sure. I mean, where there is music or applied arts whatsoever, it's emotions what makes you want art is the reaction you get by looking at it, or by experiencing it, by hearing it, by feeling it. So this is all things that has to be covered. And in digital art, for instance, I mean, it might be a little brute as an example, but a digital art can give you a feeling, can give you an emotion. You might like it or you might not like it, okay? But physical art, for instance, is somehow the same. If you go to a museum and you look at a piece of art, you cannot touch it. It actually stays purely. It's not touch. How you say it? It could be digital as well. It is not. You know it is not. You know you could touch it, but you cannot. So basically, what gives you that feeling is the pure image. Okay. The music you cannot touch either. You hear it. So whether it's digital or live, obviously live is nicer to see, nicer to watch. But if you close your eyes, if the quality is the same, the feeling is going to be the same. So I think that digital art has the chance, or should receive the chance, to be seen as art. And I know there's a big argument, but I believe it's in it stays in the eyes of the individual to actually choose whether it's accepted as art or not. And I think it's depending on the emotion a person is receiving, or is the emotion triggered by seeing it.
You convinced me, but I'm sure also in the audience you convinced people. It's
Maybe you can add something else. Also, you can share it more, you know, except maybe street art. If you buy nice picture, sculpture here, then you have it in your living room and you're happy because you look at it and that's it. And with the digital piece of art, you can share it with the whole world, even the universe, but it belongs to you because you are the owner and this is fixed in the blockchain, so nobody can steal it. And you can share it with a lot of people. So I like this inclusive thinking also behind it. So it was not my part, but I wanted to say it.
No, but definitely digital art is bringing more inclusivity in sometimes a world of art that is a little bit exclusive. Ari, you have Persei is a funding platform. The NFT market has been both skyrocketing and there were also abrupt crashes. What does this volatility say about the long-term sustainabilities of NFTs as investment, and how do you think that artists can navigate this unpredictable landscape?
So how can artists navigate the volatility of the price setting in the NFT market? Yeah. So I think probably one of the main challenges of the digital art economy is that there is a need. Sorry, there's a better way to explain this. Anything digital assets, there is an absence of a regulated price setting and marketplace, and that's actually probably what is still the Achilles base, like we said, right? Because if you launch a financial instrument or a product or shares, you know, on the market, you would go to a stock exchange, you would go to a broker, they look at all the underlyings and they say, you know, that's probably the price. If you do that for a physical art piece, you go to an auction house, you go to specialists, and you have a similar process. Then, of course, it's always market, you know, that decides at what price it is sold. But in the digital asset sphere, that's not exactly still the case. And it's a real card to be played and to be drawn. There are pockets of players, you know, active in that, but we are not there yet that we have a overall generally accepted marketplace for digital art with the price settings and so on. Of course, in the secondary market, yeah, you know, that's the market forces again, but you know, the policies and the criteria and so on, that's absent, and this is one of the concerns, I would say. I would say though this, yes, there have been crashes in the digital assets economy and the NFT price setting. But overall, if you look at it over the last 10 years, the market is really going like this, right? It's still much, much higher than it was a few years ago. And if you look at, in the bigger scheme of things, the baby boomers in a decade or two will start to, I know that it's macabre to say, but will start to phase out. And there is a whole generation that will inherit an extraordinary amount of money, because the baby boomers happen to be the richest, on average, you know, generation, and they made less children. So, you know, per individual, there will be an extraordinary amount of money to be spent in function of that spending pattern of the newer generation. That happens to be a spending pattern that you explained, you know, in the beginning. More inclusive, more digital, fractionalized, and so on. So for artists wanting to play on that thing, that you know that in the longer term, the market forces as such that this is probably a card to draw on, and I wouldn't be too worried on 2 or 3 or 5 year cycles of digital assets going up and down, which are the general waves.
Vitus and Philipp, you have Artxchains, this platform. It's bringing more transparency and traceability, as you explained to us, through its technologies. And what's your opinion on this speculative topic about NFTs? because how can we ensure that NFTs remain a tool for genuine artistic expression? Because I think you work really closely with the artist at the moment, and not just a speculative market.
Well, what we're trying to do is we're trying to create artists. So basically, we're not like OpenSea, which for me is like eBay or Alibaba. For us, people cannot sign up and create the NFT. They have to talk to us, they have to be created, we look closely at the projects, and if we like them, they can be on our platform. If they don't fit, we can help them finding a different platform. But for us, I think that is super important that we have quality content, good artists, and also metadata behind it.
Maybe some question in the audience regarding this topic of speculation.
Thank you, bye.
Okay. So anyway, the conference is coming to an end. Thank you so much to our guest speaker today, Isabelle, Larry, Philipp, and Vitus.
Thank you.
Thank you for
Thanks to the audience for the question and making this session more interactive. I hope they answered all your questions. Yes.
If you stay just 1 second, I will offer you one of these crypto stamps, if you like.
Very much.